A little later. Hope you can spend some time here this afternoon on 702 Drive. Yeah, here's a question that has long puzzled people. If there is an urge in evolution to promiscuity, in other words, individuals want to propagate their own genes in the population pool, why aren't animals completely promiscuous, males in particular? Why don't they just spread their seed as widely as conceivably possible? Well, there may be a reason. Alex Jordan is from the Evolution and Ecology Research Centre at the University of New South Wales and has been studying the price of promiscuity, if you like, the price that bad boys pay for their bad behaviour. And Alex joins us on the line. Good afternoon, Alex.
G'day, how you going?
Yeah, it's often been an obvious question in evolutionary theory, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, there's obviously, as you were saying, this immense pressure for an organism to mate as often as possible to improve its evolutionary prospects. But since we don't see extreme promiscuity in nature to the level we might expect, it got me wondering, is there some limitation on that that prevents its evolution?
A price for bad behaviour, in other words. How did you go about studying it?
Well, it's obviously quite difficult to gain an idea of a lifetime of promiscuity, what the costs of that may be, because any vertebrate species tend to live quite a long time, so the study would run for years and years. But I was fortunate, I guess, in being able to use a small tropical fish that probably many people know, the guppy. And basically what I did was I kept these males either with a single female for their entire life, what I called the married treatment, or I kept them with a series of unfamiliar females that I replaced every 2 weeks.
So you had two colonies, if you like, the happily married guppy colony and the promiscuous guppy colony.
That's exactly right. And then, over the course of their lives, I measured, lots of different behaviours, but also their physiological well-being, their weight gain and how quickly they were growing. And it turned out...
Let me guess, the married men are fatter.
Indeed, you got it in one. The married...
That's just because we've stopped trying.
Well, it's almost certainly true. There's this thing called the Coolidge effect, which is the reinvigoration of male, or not just male, of sexual interest when an individual has a novel partner.
So why is it called the Coolidge effect?
It's called that after a tale that allegedly occurred with the President of the United States, Calvin Coolidge, when he visited a chicken farm, and the wife of the President, the First Lady, noticed that there were fewer roosters than there were hens, and she said, "Why is that?" And the farmer said, "Well, every day one rooster can perform sexually, sufficient to, see to more than one hen." And the wife of the President sort of gave the farmer a wink and said, "You should tell that to the President." And then the farmer did tell that to the President, and the President said, "Yes, but he doesn't perform multiply with the same female, does he?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so there's this idea. It was not just an idea, it's an observable biological fact that sexual interest is restored when you switch out a partner for a new partner.
Okay, so the guppies who are allowed to be or encouraged to be promiscuous are more randy than the other ones.
Yeah, they definitely have overall higher sexual effort. They spend a lot of time performing courtship displays and chasing after the females, and also the act itself.
Uh-huh. Okay, but what effect does all that... I mean, that all sounds like good exercise to me. They should be in fighting fit condition.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. But it turns out that they actually are spending so much time pursuing the females that they start to neglect other pretty essential life tasks, like looking for food. And so they're not eating as often. And over the course of their lives, they grow far more slowly, and they also grow to a smaller adult size than the monogamous males who, they eat regularly, They grow steadily throughout their lives.
Who lives the longest?
Yeah, well, there was a tendency in the study towards a longer life in the married males. So, it's perhaps...
So live fast, die young.
Yeah, pretty much. Although they were probably doing better in the short term, evolutionarily, the promiscuous males did pay a pretty serious cost that probably places some kind of limitation on the evolution of promiscuity.
Okay, I mean, your theory about all this is of course, from an evolutionary point of view. You imagine that basically evolution is designing us all to propagate as many genes as possible, and you're saying that in the end, the married guppies might do quite as well, might do actually quite well in that, in terms of the fact that they live longer and healthier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think, it's definitely not the case that promiscuous males would just be far and away better off. I think both of the strategies have costs and benefits, but certainly in the monogamous situation, if you're there and in good condition and able to mate regularly, and also in any species with any kind of extended care, parental care, it's certainly a much better idea to be alive than it is to be dead.
Okay, I mean, that's been the other theory suggested in evolutionary circles for this effect, isn't it? That it's not only about getting the seeds out there, if you like, the genes out there. It's also a matter of making sure that the next generation lives long enough to pass your genes on. And that's why more monogamous or less promiscuous individuals are more likely to be represented in future gene pools, in that they have managed to get their progeny, and in some cases their grand progeny, often successfully into life.
That's exactly right. I mean, you can have 1,000 children, but if none of them produce any offspring themselves, then your ultimate evolutionary fitness is still zero. So it's very important, as you say, not only that you produce new copies of your genes or children, but also that those children are in good enough condition that they themselves can go on and produce their own children.
Okay, Alex, you're there at the University of New South Wales. You've done the study on guppies, but next surely will be a human study. You'll divide the student population of the university into two groups, put a big wall down the middle of the roundhouse and let them go at it.
I think I'd have no want of volunteers for that study. So
well, maybe for one side. I don't know about the other.
The other one, indeed.
Very nice research. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
There's Alex Jordan from the University of New South Wales. It's a study of guppies, but an interesting idea about why animal species, I guess including our own, are just not entirely promiscuous. There's a price to be paid for the bad behaviour of those very bad boys, guppies or otherwise.